there, welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, March 10th. It's the last Monday before spring break, y'all. It's right around the corner. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You may notice, or not, because actually this is not that different from how I normally dress, but I am a little more casual today, despite how it appears, because today I actually have a planning day. I'm here at school, but I will have a substitute in my room so I can spend the day with my team teacher planning. And we are going to be prepping our 10 days of review leading in to the STAAR test. So let's chat about it. So this planning day is technically being provided by our PTA. They donated the funds to pay for a sub for each teacher to have a day of planning. We could do 2 teachers per day. So as a grade level of 7, we split into 2, and I think we were able to squeeze in 3 on one of the days with special permission. But I am actually buddying up with my team teacher who also teaches math, who was helping me with the math slides a while back. We were able to pick our day from, days that were available. And she was the one who suggested, hey, let's do the Monday before spring break. And I didn't really care when we did it. Now in hindsight, I'm like, that was a great decision because something about the last Monday before break, it just felt so much easier to kind of come into the week knowing that today was a planning day. Now, I still got here at the same time this morning that I usually do. In fact, I got here a little bit earlier than I usually do. And it's funny because my students know that I'm the first one here every morning, and they know that today they're having a sub. I talked to them about how I'm here, but I'm gonna be with another teacher. We're getting ready for STAAR review, and they told me, it was so sweet. They're like, well, Mrs. Emerson, you should sleep in a little bit. You should wait and get here like closer to when we get here. I was like, oh, that's so sweet for you to think of that, but I'm still gonna get here at the normal time because I'm a creature of habit. I love my routine, but not part of my routine. This was something different. I stopped by the Whataburger drive-through this morning. I felt like a real Texan because my team teacher that I'm doing the planning with loves unsweet tea, and her favorite is Whataburger. So I grabbed her a large tea. That way when she gets here, I can gift that to her.
Heat, iced tea, 3 sugars, 5 creams.
Well, let's chat about all the stuff that I prepped over the weekend to get ready for today. I feel like teaching is one of the only jobs where you have to plan so that you can plan on the day for you to plan so that you can be planned ahead. I don't know if that made sense coming out of my mouth, but it made sense in my head. So here's a glimpse into the very full bag that I arrived with this morning. Essentially, I had myself a little printing and laminating party over the weekend. I shouldn't say little because if you glanced in the bag, you can see all of the stuff. Let me see if I can even get this out all at one time. Yes, it's beautiful because of all the rainbow colors, but it's a lot. And you're probably like, oh, Michelle, you already printed and laminated, all the teachers' things. No, this would be one class worth, my class worth. Here's the thing. You may remember a couple of vlogs ago, I talked about going to the Lead Forward conference for the Rockin' Review, which was all about getting students prepped for the STAAR test. So we are taking the math STAAR test on April 22nd. Leading into the STAAR test, we have 10 days of review, or at least the goal is to have 10 days of review. Now, we had to do a lot of shifting around and a lot of condensing in our last unit, but we were able to squeeze out 10 days dedicated to review. And I took all of the things from the conference and we actually extended it a little bit. I should probably do a better job of explaining this. We'll come back to that though in a minute. And I prepped all of the materials for just my class this weekend, mostly because I wanted to see how much it was so that I knew what I had to anticipate today, knowing that we have to do this 3 more times because there are 4 of us that teach math. And it is a lot. Like in hindsight now looking at this, it's a lot of printed materials, a lot of laminating, a lot of cutting. The laminating is optional. but hi, my name is Michelle and I like for things to be perfect, but also my thinking is I want this to be as ready as possible to reuse in the future. I'm gonna use this again next year, so I might as well put in the effort now to make it so that next year my life is much easier. So this is all the printed stuff. In addition to that, I also brought some envelopes because some of the activities you put cards into an envelope, and I've had these colored envelopes for, you know what's weird is I said envelope and then I said envelope. I guess I say it both ways. I've had these for years. I don't even remember where I got them. I think I got them for like a scavenger hunt I made for Billy several years ago for his birthday, but I brought them just in case. And then I also brought a bunch of bags, which, hold on. Get a little ahead of ourselves there. I have these from, this is nostalgic, Billy and I's first Valentine's Day. So we're talking 11 years ago. I did 14 days of Valentine's. So leading up to Valentine's Day, every single morning, this is when he was still living at his mom's house, I drove to his house before I went to my student teaching internship and dropped off a little baggie that had themed items. So for example, the first one was like, you're the apple of my eye, and I had an apple in there and then some apple flavored chips and things. So I had a bunch of these leftover bags. Yes, 11 years later, I'm still working through them, but now they're coming in handy because some of the activities require putting things in a bag. They'll create like a mystery bag with cards. So I brought those. I also brought a bunch of Ziploc baggies because a lot of the cards and things I made multiple sets because students are gonna do them in groups of 3 or groups of 4 or groups of 5. And so I brought, this is a hot mess, just a plethora of plastic baggies to be able to put them in mostly sandwich and snack size. And then somewhere in here is a straw for her Whataburger tea. Hold on, found it. Okay, so let's go back to the STAAR review, how it's structured. And some of you are probably like, Michelle, I don't even know what STAAR is. So let's start there. I've not had any caffeine this morning, I swear. I think I'm just really excited because I do love this kind of monotonous prep with stuff, just cutting and sorting into piles. STAAR is basically the big standardized test that students take here in Texas. Now, back in Maryland, we took a big standardized test in the spring, but I didn't feel like it was, I don't want to say as big of a deal. There wasn't as much emphasis on it as there is on STAAR. Like, STAAR is a big deal. And as I mentioned, we have 10 days of review leading into the STAAR. So the way we are structuring our review is day 1 is gonna be very much an overview of reminding students, here's all the stuff that we've learned. Then we're gonna start to go into the first cluster. So clusters are basically like when I taught in Maryland and we had Common Core, we had different like domains of math. So whole number operations, fractions, geometry, decimals, those are what the clusters are. And at the Rock and Review, they broke down, here are the clusters that are most commonly tested by STAAR. And they have like the past 7 years of analysis of the tests and the number of items for each cluster. What they recommend is to then spend 3 days on the 3 most tested clusters, which for 4th grade is whole number operations, so like multiplication, addition, subtraction, and whatever the other one is that I didn't just say. Multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Maybe I said them all. Now it's obvious that I haven't had caffeine. But in addition to that, it's fractions and decimals. And then the 4th most tested cluster is geometry. And they kind of said you can swap that out if needed. So I talked to my team and basically we're really gonna condense down decimals because that's what we just wrapped up doing. So it's a lot more fresh in our students' minds versus geometry. It's been a while. We did that toward the beginning of the year. So we're gonna be hitting all 4 clusters over the next like 9 days of the review. I think we condensed it down where we're doing like 2 days of whole numbers, 2 days of fractions, 2 days of geometry, a day of decimals. Does that add up to 9? No, 6, 7. One of them's gotta be 3 days. I don't know. Regardless, I have it all mapped out, I swear. But each of those, at the review, they gave us 3 days worth of activities. Now, even though we're condensing it down, we're still gonna try to hit all of the activities because we're also gonna take a little bit of time from science to be able to review. So that being said, each day has a vocabulary exercise and then some type of activity that they're doing in groups, and then kind of a like bring it all together, make connections type of activity. And that's what all of this is. So over the weekend, I printed and I tried to color code. So that's why you'll notice all of the different colors, because if I'm gonna have students working on these in groups, as much as possible, I wanna be able to give each group a different color. That way I don't have to worry about the pieces getting mixed up. So for example, one of the vocabulary exercises they will do is a who am I game. This is where you put the card on your forehead, you get clues, and try to guess what vocabulary words you have. So I have prepped these where, for example, these are all the whole number operations. These are all of the decimals, fractions, and so on. So they're color-coded by the cluster. Some of the other ones are color-coded by group. So these ones are cluster. Password, where students will pull out a card from the middle and they have to try to get their team to guess what word is on their card by giving clues. So kind of similar to Who Am I, just a slight variation. These ones, I have each cluster all in one color. So like I have whole number, decimals, fractions, and geometry, but I have 5 different colors because they're gonna play in 5 different groups. So there will be one of each color for whole numbers, one of each color for decimals, and so on. So that was something I just logically thought through before I started making copies, and I actually made a little cheat sheet for my team teacher and I. Hold on, let me go ahead and show you that. So this is our planning day cheat sheet. I just made a Google Doc with clickable boxes, so that way as we do things, we can check it off with all of the things we need to do. So I linked to the activity. So for example, Tic-Tac-Tally, I have linked to the Google Slides file where I created that. And then I listed out like slide 1, we need 15 copies, 5 per teacher. And the reason it's only 3 is because I've already prepped mine. Slides 2 to 3, it needs to be double-sided, 15 copies, 5 per teacher, so on and so forth. And you'll notice down here, this is one that is not gonna be laminated. It's just gonna be printed on like regular paper. So for this one, there's 20 copies because we need 5 per teacher, and that includes me. And then I have little notes like we have to cut out each question, and then down here, like some of the posters we have to create, and then here's what we need to give each teacher. So it's gonna be a lot, but I think having a checklist, or at least this is what I tell myself, will make it much easier. One of the other things I did to make it easier, well, not easier now, easier for me in the future, is I labeled stuff before laminating it. So you will notice this is the password game, and this is for whole number operations. On the back, before I laminated it, I wrote where each card is a P for password and then WN to represent whole number. And then on this one, it has P and then D to represent decimals. That way, when all of these are cut apart, they're gonna look very similar, because in addition to this password game, let me keep things in line or else I'm gonna regret it later, we have this word whack. Now, these are gonna look very similar when they're cut apart. I put titles at the top, but that's gonna get cut off. And then I'm gonna wonder what game it's for. And in case things get messed up, they will get messed up, I've got the little labels to help. So for example, this one has WW to represent word whack, and then WN to represent whole numbers. Did I mess up on a lot of them? Yes, because randomly my brain would put an M instead of a W, but I will understand the point. So that took a while, I'm not gonna lie. It was a majority of my day yesterday. Well, it was a majority of my evening. I should have started earlier in the day if I knew it was gonna be this much. But I got it all laminated. I obviously have not cut it apart. So this morning, before I leave my classroom to go start the planning day with my team teacher, I'm gonna start just cutting and prepping as much of this as possible. And then we'll check in after school. I'll let you know how things have gone. I mean, my hope is to have it all done today, but I also think that's ambitious after prepping all this last night and seeing how much it is. So wish me luck. Oh, that threw me off a little bit. My substitute must be taller than I am. 9 hours later, I'm back in my classroom. Am I done? No. But did I expect to finish? Not really. So it's fine. Let me rub together the last 2 brain cells that I have and do a recap of the day. Overall, it was a very productive day, and I feel like we were as efficient as we could be. It just is a lot, and I think it was ambitious to be able to prep it all in one day, even with 2 of us and even with the entire day dedicated to it. But I still have half of my tea that I made at 5:45 this morning, which shout out to Yeti because it's still actually somewhat warm. My team teacher, it was so cute because I brought her a tea and she brought me some energy drinks. I've not had this one, but Ultra Strawberry Dreams. I'm gonna have to try that. And then there's another one in here. So that was very sweet. She knows that energy drinks are the way to my heart. Speaking of heart, probably shouldn't have that much caffeine. I should work on that. But I'm looking at just a plethora of stuff. I'll go over that in a minute. My substitute was phenomenal. I came back and it took 2 seconds to clean up because the student exit tickets were all organized by class. I have a student from each class that was listed as going above and beyond, so they will be my golden egg winner for tomorrow. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go back and watch my last vlog. But I did pop in my classroom around lunchtime to refill it for the afternoon student. So I feel good knowing that I am all set for tomorrow with knowing who I need to pass it along to. There's not too much on the sub-report to really attend to. I have some notes from my Geek Squad, which are my students that clean up the Chromebooks, because we're trying to get our class in the habit of quitting all their applications on their Chromebook, because when it runs overnight, it takes longer to charge and it makes noises and things like that. And so they left me a note of who did not quit all of their applications and shut their Chromebook down. But otherwise, it's just a matter of like wrapping up stuff with STAAR prep. So let me show you what the table's looking like. So this is all my stuff to where the brown baggies are. These are all copies of, they're called fast focus pages, and then the other side is like countdown to STAAR. They're essentially like review questions. We're gonna be doing a page every day. So I have my 10 days worth of copies here, and then I have 10 of these folders to be able to organize my days into. We were basically bagging, I'll show you when I get over there, but we were bagging each day, not bagging, but foldering each day into a single folder. Then we have stuff that I prepped this morning while I was working in my room and before my team teacher got there. So I have all of the tic-tac tally boards, which we're doing on the first day. Basically, the cards will get organized into the different clusters as students play tic-tac-toe. And then I also have like fun versions of all the games that we're gonna play so that I can teach the students, which I'll go over that once we get there. Then I still need to cut these. These are activities for the different domains, and it's on just regular paper, so I need to print those. And then these are all the pages of mine that still have to get cut. But meanwhile, I organized basically all the vocabulary activities into baggies this morning. And then I also organized our mystery bag activities into these bags that I had left over. Then these will all be for one of my team teachers. Essentially, we got through prepping the overview, which is day 1, decimals, which we are condensing into one day, and this shows where my brain was at. We're doing that on day 5, but decimals will just be 1 day worth. Geometry, we're condensing into 2 days. So I have day 1 and day 2. I should have just put day 1 here, but my brain was not working. So those are all done, and then these all go with the decimals because it's 3 days condensed into 1. It was a lot of materials. It didn't fit in the folder. This all still has to get prepped. So basically, because we're prepping 4 classes worth, like I have my class worth, and then we were prepping 3 others, we decided to split it. So she took one of the other team teachers, I took the other team teacher, and I have to finish prepping this. So I need to prep days 1 through 3 for whole numbers and days 1 through 3 for fractions. Now that being said, it is thankfully organized. These 2 are already cut apart because they somehow snuck into another section, but I already have like the binder clips for the things that will get binder clipped. I have the baggies ready to go for the things that will get baggied, because that's a verb now. And then basically it's divided by the folders. So everything from the folder under will go into the folder. So we have the copies of those fast focus pages. And then these are all like the cards and things that have to get cut. So for example, like the word whack, each one of these is for a partnership. So this will go into a baggie. And then once all that is cut, it will go into the folder. So it's all organized. It's just a matter of doing the cutting and prepping. Now, thankfully, before I left on Friday, I went ahead and stuffed Tuesday folders, so I don't need to do that for tomorrow. That's good to go. I need to sit down and look at my plans for tomorrow because I don't even remember at this point what I'm doing. I know I'm reviewing in science because we have a science test on Thursday. Wednesday, we have Makerspace. Okay, it's coming back to me. Math, we're just working on normal lessons. I don't think there's anything special going on. So I need to look at that before tomorrow. The question becomes, how late do I stay today? Because I also need to go to the gym, but this mess is stressing me out. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is sit and work for maybe another, like I'm gonna set a timer, work for another hour, and then I'll head out of here. But I'm gonna call it on the vlog because I wanna be able to focus in on the work. And honestly, I feel like I have shared plenty in this vlog. I mean, I'll insert some B-roll clips of like our spread in the room. We basically dedicated a table to each teacher. And then within that table, we had 4 piles, 1 pile for each cluster. And then we would laminate, like she laminated the whole teacher's stuff. And then I would sort it into the clusters. And then we then cut apart each page and sorted it into the days with the envelopes. And then we just sat there and we just had a cutting party with our paper cutters. So it was a lot, but as I mentioned, this is me doing a lot of work now to make it easier next year and in the future. And also we kind of went above and beyond. Like, did we need to laminate everything? Probably not, but we're trying to make it so that it can easily be reused next year. Plus, we're prepping 4 classes worth versus 1 class worth. All that being said, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me for the day. I don't know, I'm gonna share more when we actually get to the review, but for now, my goal is just to make it until Friday. I'll vlog again on Friday, one final check-in before spring break, and then I'm taking spring break off and I'm gonna relax and enjoy so I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you enjoyed this vlog, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on and I will catch you in the next one.